Foreigners visiting or residing in Japan should adhere to a range of laws and regulations to ensure legal compliance and a positive experience. Do you know the things you should never do there? Japan, a country of ancient traditions and futuristic cities, is a fascinating place to explore. But it's also a land with its own unique set of laws and customs, some of which may seem surprising or even strange to foreigners. Understanding these laws and customs is key to ensuring a smooth and enjoyable visit. Ignorance of these could not only land you in hot water with the authorities, but also risk causing offense to the locals. Whether it's criminal law, civil law, or even the unique regulations for parents and kids, it's crucial to have a grasp of these rules before you set foot in the land of the rising sun. So, are you ready to get a crash course on the do's and don'ts in Japan? Buckle up and grab a notepad. So, let's dive into the world of Japanese laws and customs. First off, let's talk about criminal laws. You might be surprised by some of them. Japan is a country known for its strict adherence to laws, and this is particularly true when it comes to criminal laws. The Japanese legal system places a high value on maintaining social order and preventing crime, which results in stringent enforcement of its criminal laws. One area where Japan's criminal laws significantly differ from many Western countries is drug laws. Japan takes a zero-tolerance approach to drugs. Even the possession of a small amount of marijuana can lead to a prison sentence of up to 5 years. The use of harder drugs, such as cocaine or heroin, can result in even longer sentences. And it's not just about possession. If you're found guilty of using drugs, you could face a prison sentence of up to 7 years. So if you've been told that Japan is lax about drug use, well, think again. Moving on to gun laws. Japan's approach to firearms is markedly different from many Western countries, particularly the United States. In Japan, civilian gun ownership is heavily restricted. As a matter of fact, owning a gun is generally considered a privilege, not a right. Even law enforcement officers in Japan rarely carry firearms. The restrictions are so tight that even airsoft guns, which are toy guns that shoot plastic pellets, are subject to strict regulations. If you're caught in possession of an illegal firearm, you could face a prison term of up to 10 years. So, if you're thinking about bringing your gun collection to Japan, you might want to reconsider. Now let's talk about public behavior. Japan has a number of laws that might seem unusual to foreigners, particularly laws related to public drunkenness. While it's not illegal to be drunk in public, causing a public disturbance while intoxicated can lead to arrest and detention. This includes behaviors like shouting, fighting, or causing damage to property. In addition, Japan has strict laws against drinking and driving. Even a small amount of alcohol in your system can result in severe penalties, including hefty fines, suspension of your driver's license, and even prison time. Another area that may come as a surprise to many is Japan's approach to graffiti and vandalism. In many Western countries, graffiti is often seen as an act of rebellion or a form of artistic expression. However, in Japan, it's viewed quite differently. Graffiti and vandalism are considered serious crimes, with penalties that can include hefty fines and prison sentences. So if you're thinking about leaving your mark on a wall in Tokyo, you might want to think twice. In conclusion, Japan's criminal laws are strict and are rigorously enforced. The country's legal system places a high value on maintaining social order and preventing crime, which can sometimes result in laws and penalties that may seem harsh to foreigners. However, these laws are a reflection of Japan's unique culture and societal values, and they play a key role in maintaining the country's low crime rates and safe public spaces. So remember, when in Japan, abide by the local laws to stay out of trouble. Moving on to civil laws, these might seem a bit strange if you're not used to them. But as it's been said, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Or in this case, when in Japan, do as the Japanese do. Let's start with the concept of personal space. Now, personal space in Japan is a bit of a paradox. On one hand, you have densely populated cities like Tokyo, where space is a luxury, and it's not uncommon to be shoulder to shoulder with strangers on public transportation. But on the other hand, there's a strong cultural emphasis on maintaining an individual's personal space. It's frowned upon to touch people unless absolutely necessary, and even then, it's minimal. No backslapping, hugging, or even shaking hands unless initiated by a Japanese person. Even eye contact is kept to a minimum. So keep your hands to yourself and respect the personal boundaries of others. Next, let's talk about noise pollution. Japan is a country that values peace and quiet. It's a place where the noise level is measured in decibels, and excessive noise can result in fines or even imprisonment. So if you're planning to throw a party or blast your favorite tunes, think twice. Noise pollution laws apply to all forms of noise, including loud music, construction, and even loud conversations. It's not only about maintaining peace and quiet, but also about respect for others, especially in residential areas. Moving on, we come to the issue of littering. Japan is known for its cleanliness, and this is no accident. There are strict laws against littering, and disposal of waste is taken very seriously. You'll rarely find public trash cans on the streets, but you'll also rarely find litter. That's because people generally take their trash home with them. If you're caught littering, you could face hefty fines. It's not just about keeping the streets clean, but also about taking responsibility for your own waste. Each of these laws may seem unusual to outsiders, but they are deeply ingrained in Japanese culture. They reflect a society that values respect for others, harmony, and personal responsibility. It's about more than just following the law. It's about living in a way that contributes to the greater good of the community. For example, consider the practice of omoyari, a concept that's hard to translate into English but can be loosely described as empathy or consideration for others. It's about thinking about how your actions might affect those around you and acting in a way that minimizes any negative impact. This concept is deeply woven into the fabric of Japanese society and is reflected in many of its laws. But it's not just about the big things. Even small gestures like not using your phone on public transportation, taking your shoes off when entering someone's home, or waiting your turn in line are all part of showing respect and consideration for others. These seemingly small acts add up to create a society that's respectful, harmonious, and considerate. So, as you can see, civil laws in Japan are not just about maintaining order. They're about fostering a culture of respect, harmony, and consideration for others. They're about creating a society where everyone can live comfortably and peacefully. It's clear that the Japanese take their civil laws seriously, so when you're in Japan, make sure you're respectful of the culture and customs. After all, it's not just about avoiding fines or imprisonment. It's about understanding and appreciating a different way of life. And who knows, you might just find that these values resonate with you and influence your own behavior even after you've left Japan. Now, if you're traveling with your family, there are some laws specifically for parents and kids you should be aware of. When it comes to the safety of children, Japan doesn't mess around. Let's start with car safety. If you're planning on driving around Japan with your little ones, remember that it's mandatory for children under 6 to use child safety seats. This is not a suggestion, it's the law. And it's a law that's strictly enforced. You could face a hefty fine if you're caught without a proper child safety seat. So make sure to rent one with your car if you didn't bring yours along, and the safety measures don't stop when you step out of the car. If you're cycling with your kids, make sure they're wearing helmets. Japan encourages the use of bicycle helmets for children. While it's not a national law, many prefectures and cities have local ordinances requiring children under 13 to wear helmets when cycling. It's a smart habit to cultivate regardless of where you are. Now let's talk about education. Japan takes schooling very seriously. Compulsory education in Japan lasts 9 years, covering elementary and junior high school. This applies to every single child in the country, including foreigners residing in Japan. So if you're planning a long-term stay, your kids will need to be enrolled in school. It's important to note that while education is compulsory, it's also free. Yes, you heard that right. Public elementary and junior high schools in Japan are free of charge, so you won't have to worry about tuition fees if your kids are attending these schools. Another aspect of Japanese law that's worth mentioning relates to discipline. Japan has a law against child abuse, which includes physical punishment. If you're a parent who believes in the adage, "spare the rod, spoil the child," you might want to reconsider your stance while in Japan. The country has strict laws against physical punishment, and these laws are enforced to protect children from harm. Lastly, let's touch on the topic of child custody in the unfortunate event of a divorce. Japan adheres to a system of sole custody, typically awarded to the mother. Visitation rights for the non-custodial parent are often limited and not as enforceable as they are in many Western countries. This can be a complex and sensitive issue, especially for international couples. If you find yourself in such a situation, it's crucial to understand the legal landscape and seek professional advice. So there you have it. From car seats to bicycle helmets, from school attendance to discipline, Japan has a comprehensive set of laws aimed at ensuring the safety and well-being of children. These laws reflect the country's commitment to safeguarding its future generations. So, if you're visiting Japan with your kids, keep these laws in mind to ensure your family's safety and well-being. So, there we have it. A quick guide on what to avoid when you're in Japan. We've journeyed through the intricate landscape of Japanese laws from criminal to civil, and even delved into the unique laws for parents and kids. It's clear that Japan is a country with its own distinct set of rules and regulations, and it's crucial for foreigners to be aware of these to ensure a smooth and enjoyable stay. In our exploration of criminal laws, we highlighted the stringent rules against drugs and theft. Japan's zero-tolerance drug policy is something travelers should be particularly mindful of. And remember, even the act of taking a bicycle without permission could land you in hot water. Turning to civil laws, we discussed the importance of respecting personal space and privacy. Whether it's refraining from snapping a picture without consent or not causing a disturbance in public places, these are key aspects of Japanese etiquette. And let's not forget about the laws for parents and kids. The School Attendance Law, the Child Safety Act, and the law against corporal punishment are all unique aspects of Japan's legal landscape. These laws reflect Japan's commitment to child safety, education, and respect for human rights. But more than just being about legalities, it's about respect. Respect for the culture, the people, and the traditions that make Japan such a fascinating country. It's about understanding that what may be acceptable in your home country may not be so in Japan. So, as you pack your bags and get ready to explore the land of the rising sun, keep these pointers in mind. They're not just rules to follow, but a guide to help you navigate your way through a different culture, allowing you to make the most of your trip. And finally, it's important to remember that while these laws and customs may seem different or even strange to us, they're a part of what makes Japan such a unique and wonderful place to visit. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel and leave a comment saying, "I subscribed."